Hey everyone, today's video is about when you're dorm mates. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get going. You flung open the door of your shared dorm room, exhaustion clinging onto you like a second skin. Final week had been brutal, and all you craved was the comfort of your bed. But your eyes met a sight that instantly erased any thoughts of sleep. There, sprawled across your shared desk, was Bakugou Katsuki, your roommate, your constant rival, and the bane of your existence. He was asleep, his head resting on a mountain of textbooks, his unruly blonde hair a mess. For a moment, you just stood there, taking in the sight. This wasn't the explosive, arrogant Bakugou that you knew. This one looked peaceful, almost vulnerable. A strange feeling stirred within you. Was it concern, curiosity, maybe even petty? You couldn't quite place it. Against your better judgment, you approached him cautiously. You noticed the deep furrow in his brow, and you reached out to smooth it away. Your fingers brushed his skin, sending a jolt of electricity through your body. He stirred, his eyes opening. They met yours, and for a moment, you were lost in their depth. The fiery crimson you were used to was replaced by a softer, more vulnerable shade. "What?" he growled. I just saw you asleep, and you looked so different." He raised an eyebrow, his usual scowl returning. "Different how?" "I don't know, just peaceful." You admitted, blushing. He snorted. "Don't let that fool you, nerd. I'm still the same explosive Bakugo that you know, and you love to hate." You spent the next few minutes talking. A quiet conversation that surprised you both. You learned that he was just as stressed about the finals as you were, and that actually he did enjoy studying, a fact that he would never admit to anyone else. As the hours passed, you felt a connection forming between you. It was a fragile thing, but it was there. You were no longer just enemies. You were two people who understood each other's struggles. Eventually, you both reached your limit. Exhaustion pulled you under, and you found yourself leaning against Bakugou's shoulder. He didn't push you away. He simply wrapped his arm around you, and for the first time, you felt safe in his presence. You fell asleep to the sound of his steady breathing, a sense of peace washing over you. You had discovered a new side of Bakugou, and it was a side that you couldn't help but be drawn to. The next morning, you woke up to your own bed, a faint scent of cinnamon lingering in the air. You looked over at Bakugou's desk, but it was empty. He was gone. A pang of disappointment shot through you. Had last night become a dream? Was the connection that you felt real, or just your imagination? Later that day, you found him in the library, surrounded by textbooks once again. He looked up when you entered, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. "Hey," you said, a shy smile gracing your lips. He looked away quickly, but a faint blush crept onto his cheeks. "Hey," he mumbled. You sat down next to him, and a comfortable silence descended upon you. You worked on your assignments, but your mind kept drifting back to last night. Finally, you gathered your courage and spoke. "Bakugou," you began, your voice barely a whisper. "About last night, He cut you off, his voice gruff but gentle. "Don't worry about it. It was nice." You felt a warm rush of relief. He wasn't denying it. He didn't regret it. From that day on, things between you and Bakugou began to change. You were still kind of rivals, but there was a new understanding between you. You talked more, laughed more, and even studied together occasionally. It was a slow process, but you were gradually chipping away at the walls he had built around his heart. You saw glimpses of a person that was beneath the gruff exterior, and you were drawn to him more than you ever thought possible. One day, as you sat beneath a cherry blossom tree, surrounded by a flurry of pink petals, Bakugou confessed his feelings. His words were clumsy, his voice rough, but they were genuine. And you in turn confessed yours. Under the beautiful canopy of cherry blossoms, you began a new chapter in your relationship. It was a journey filled with challenges, but it was also filled with love, laughter, and a deep understanding that transcended rivalry. You had found your enemy, your best friend, and ultimately your boyfriend. As the warm sun filtered through the cherry blossoms, casting a dappled light on your faces, you felt a surge of happiness. You were with Bakugou, and everything felt right. He reached for your hand, his fingers intertwining with yours. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. It was a silent promise of commitment, or support and love. You spent the rest of the day under the cherry blossom tree, talking, laughing, and simply enjoying each other's company. You shared stories, dreams, and fears. You learned more about each other than you ever thought possible. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows on the ground, you knew it was time to go, but neither of you wanted to leave the peaceful heaven that you had created beneath the cherry blossoms. "This is nice," Bakugou said. "It is." You agreed, leaning your head against his shoulder. He wrapped his arm around you, and you felt a sense of security wash over you. You knew that you were safe with him, that he would always be there for you. "I'm glad we had found each other." "Me too," he replied, his voice filled with emotion. You stood up, hand in hand, and walked away from the cherry blossom tree. You knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but you also knew that you could face it together. You were no longer just rivals. You were partners, confidants, and lovers. You were a team, and together, you knew you could overcome anything. The future stretched before you, filled with possibilities. You were excited to see what it held, and you were grateful to have Bakugou by your side. As you walked hand in hand towards the setting sun, you knew that you had found your happily ever after. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Goodbye.